Welcome to the Hidden Potential Podcast. I'm your host, Homer Hargrove, and today we're going to be talking about habits that have totally leveled up my mentality within my leadership. Habits are something that we do on a daily basis, weekly basis, something that we do on a regular routine. And when it comes to leadership, there's certain little cues and habits that we should pick up that may not be natural, but they help us to get more in the zone, more focused, more disciplined, and not only our leadership, but even our natural lives. These habits also help us do is help manage our stress levels, even anxiety. They just have this overall beneficial factor that really bleeds over into other areas of our lives. And so some of these habits I've been doing for a long time, some of them even just recently, but I really believe that some of these will be able to help you if you were to pick them up. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one is without a doubt having morning devotion time. And I want to emphasize having morning devotion time compared to evening devotion time. Now, this has been different for me over the years, especially whenever we had our kids. My devotion time was pretty scattered. It was really just trying to find the time to do it anytime that I could stay awake in between kids being asleep or needing attention. But really honing in on it being the morning time. The reason that this is has such a catalyst effect is that you're starting the day with this discipline of putting your spiritual intentions, and it is hands down one of the best habits. And I'll be honest, getting up early has never necessarily been easy for me. I have been more so an early riser per se, but when it comes to getting up at 6 in the morning, once you have kids, once you have a job, it's like getting up earlier than you need to be really takes a new level of discipline. And making this time to have this morning devotion, this early day devotion, it really creates this foundation or a plateau for you to build everything else upon your day with. And you're really able to have this more spiritually sharpened mind as you face natural problems or natural things that come up with. When I have this morning devotion time, I'm way less quick to get angry or frustrated, much more patient and compassionate. It is just a beneficial factor, especially when it comes to leadership, starting the day with spiritual devotion. And how that looks like for you may look different compared to me or anybody else. For me, I generally always start with reading scripture first, and then I have a time of either meditation or I'll sing a song here and there. But it starts with the word, goes into how kind of like that feel, that vibe in the moment, and then I'll go into a time of prayer. And that prayer time, it may last 2 minutes, may last 10 minutes, but it's just, again, it's not about having a challenge of how long you can do this prayer or how long you can do a devotion time. Sometimes it really is just making this simple habit, even if it's 5 minutes every day, and growing from there. Y'all dig what I'm saying? Now, the next thing is a little more on the practical side and may not be applicable to everybody, but it's definitely been applicable to me, and that is doing cold plunges. Now, this is a newer one for me. I've done cold plunges here and there in a bathtub over the years, but my wife for Christmas got me an actual cold plunge barrel, and I've been doing it every day, except I will admit that there was a day that our whole family got stomach bugs, and there's 3 days since I got that cold plunge for Christmas that I wasn't able to do it. But doing it pretty much every day has been this big beneficial factor. And where I'm doing it, for me, I do it right after that devotion time. And I'm having this moment where I do a cold plunge, and it's more, the hardest part about it is probably managing the ice. My wife is really getting annoyed and frustrated with me because trying to find all these, I've been really trying to hone in on how to make the ice not in a way that's spilling over everything, that's not taking up the freezer space. But even the other day, I left one of the kids' snacks out of the freezer by accident when I was making room for these ice blocks that I'm making. And she was not happy with me. But all that aside, doing this cold plunge early in the morning, physically, it's done a lot for me. I'm in my 30s, and the best way I can understand, I'm in good shape and everything, but once you hit 30, even late 20s, it's more so your body just starts, like, you start to feel that degrading in your body. And it's more so not like all of a sudden I developed arthritis, but now I feel my knees. Like, I feel my back. When I go to pick up toys, I grunt like, ah, it's a stretch. But after doing this cold plunges just for a couple months now, I'm no longer grunting when I pick up toys from the floor. I feel like this a rejuvenation in my body. I feel more limber. But I think the greatest benefit for me doing these cold plunges is it has really increased my mental sharpness. It has really helped me to go to a new level in my discipline and self-control. And it's like a love-hate relationship, because I feel such a big difference in my body and my mind. And I like doing these cold plunges, but I really don't like doing the cold plunges. You think that I would get used to it, but it's like every day that I'm about to do it, part of me is like, I'll start, let me go do this real quick. Let me go do that. It's like every part of me is trying to avoid getting into the water. But at the end of the day, once I do get in, and it's just for like 3 minutes, and I'm in there, everything in me wants to get out. But having this simple time where I'm starting my day with adversity, I'm starting my day with telling my body what to do rather than it telling me what to do. And it has really helped me to be so much more mentally sharp in my decision making, to where I'm not necessarily, I feel like I'm not responding to crisis. I'm deciding within crisis. Y'all dig what I'm saying? It's really just leveled up my mental decision making and willpower. Hey listeners, today I'm reaching out for your support to keep our journey of innovative Christian leadership alive. Every week we dive into territories of faith-based leadership because of the contributions made by people who believe in this mission. Whether you want to help us by becoming a monthly supporter or by submitting a one-time donation, you help fuel our discussions on authentic and practical leadership. Your generosity allows us to help other leaders just like yourself harness their creativity for the greater good of our communities and beyond. As a monthly supporter, you can submit questions and comments to be shared on the show each week, and you'll also get weekly shout-outs on air for being a member. And if you become a super supporter, you will receive a monthly free product from our online store. To support us, please visit homerhargrove.com and look for the support section. It's quick, it's easy, and every bit of it helps us to make greater impact to Christian leadership. Thank you for being a part of our mission. Now, let's get back to today's episode. The next thing is having this little bit of morning exercise. I know I'm talking about some physical, practical things, but even when you study some of the philosophers of the olden days, like in Greece, in ancient Greece, and people like Socrates and Plato and etc., they were actually very physically disciplined in their bodies and would perform these physical exercises. Like they're like Olympians, marathon runners, wrestlers. And the reason that they would practice the physical is because it inevitably made them practice the mental. A simple example is my body does not necessarily want to exercise. It doesn't want to do push-ups in the morning. It doesn't want to do any physical endurance right when I get up. But when I do that, it makes my mind so much stronger in what I'm telling my body to do. Again, it's kind of like the cold plunges, but starting my day with this simple challenge of an exercise. I'm not talking about a whole workout. If you do a whole workout in the morning, good for you. My lifestyle doesn't allow for it. I would have to get up at like 5 in the morning compared to 6 in the morning to do that workout. I'm just not ready for that. That's not practical. I think I would hate my morning routine if I was too tired. But I'm talking about like doing some simple push-ups, squats, sit-ups, and to where when I started this routine, I was just doing I started with just 20 push-ups and then eventually I went to 20 push-ups and 20 squats. And then eventually I was doing like 20 push-ups, 20 squats, 20 jumping jacks. And I kind of paced myself accordingly to what I felt fit. That wasn't dragging on. Like my workout, my little exercise in the morning, I timed myself the other day. I was able to complete it in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I did enough to where I felt like apt in my body, like I got a good breath going, but I'm not doing this full workout routine. I'm just, again, starting my day with adversity and practicing this self-discipline, practicing self-control. And these physical things has really increased my mental sharpness and decision making for later in the day. Now, the next part is this next one is having a moment of silence. Starting your day for that first hour of the day, maybe for you it can only be 30 minutes, but having this routine to where you have silence the very first part of your day when you wake up. I don't know what you typically do when you wake up, but for me, what I would naturally do is immediately check my email. I would check like bank accounts. I'm like looking for disaster in the very first part of my day. And for other people, it might be checking social media. Maybe it's scrolling. Maybe it's playing like a game on your phone. But having a moment to where you say, I'm going to be unplugged for this entire morning, and I'm not going to check anything. I'm not going to have any impartation from the world. I'm only going to have an impartation from God, or I'm only going to have this moment to find clarity in my mind, and not allowing media or even your email to be a distraction that first hour of your day. It has really helped me. I think it would be a big benefit to you to have that clarity and that focus for the rest of the day. And again, it's about not letting things decide for you what's happening for the day, but you having this moment to clear your head and decide for yourself. I hope that makes sense. And with all of these different practices, again, I would suggest maybe try just one. If you're able to do all three, then praise God. That's great. But the whole point of it is to attempt to discipline your mind with a new habit, to find a new habit that will increase your mental sharpness, yourself, your physical self, whatever it is, because those things bleed over into your leadership. It bleeds over to your organization. And it's like how Craig Rochelle says, when the leader gets better, the organization gets better. And so it's the same way for church, for ministry. So as for takeaway, I would suggest, number one, try one of these habits out for yourself. Choose one and try it for yourself, and then analyze how it helps you over a couple weeks. Don't just do it for one day and say, it didn't do anything for me. Try it for a couple weeks and see how it is for yourself. Number two, try doing a self-examination and picking up any habits that might be specific to you that I didn't list here today. Make it personal, make it work for you. And number three, make this routine to where you have a rhythm of what you do every day. We're talking about making habits. Now I'm talking about make a discipline of where you know what you do every morning, to where it's in your calendar, it's routine, and you're doing this one thing, same thing every single day. All that being said, I hope that today's message was meaningful for you. I hope that it made a difference in your life and your leadership. Could you do me a favor? Could you leave a rating and review for this podcast? It'd really help me out and help others to be able to see this show in their feed. Until next time, have a great life. Well, there you have it. I hope that this episode was meaningful and edifying for your leadership and your growth within your ministry and organization. Could you do me a favor? Could you leave a rating and review for this podcast? It'd really help me out and help others be able to see this show in their feed. You can also visit homerhargrove.com to be able to learn more, connect, or become one of our supporters. Until next time, have a great life.